Hey guys, welcome back to One All's Pub. Let's talk about Cold Steel, the brand. Cold Steel is kind of one of those brands that's kind of a lightning rod for some people. Some people hate him, some people love him. I guess maybe some people are indifferent, but it's definitely one of those brands that invokes a lot of strong feelings one way or the other, it seems. You can buy a lot of Cold Steel knives. They're relatively inexpensive or medium priced, at least at the best. They have some more expensive stuff too. I'm talking about their folding knives, not all their other stuff, their swords and all that get really expensive. I'm just talking about folding knives. You could buy most of your Cold Steel products, most of your Cold Steel folding knives, for a relatively reasonable price, unless you're talking some of the really big stuff, like the XL Espadas and stuff like that. Those can get expensive. But just your average 3 to 3.5 inch to 4 inch folding knife, you can buy a lot of those for most of those for way under $100. To some people, they represent a great bargain. To other people, they are all ninja knives. And there's just, like I said, that this brand tends to bring out a lot of strong opinions one way or the other. I'll say that initially, I was of the mindset that Cold Steel wasn't for me. In my knife journey, I kind of had this is kind of how my knife journey went when I started getting into knives. Now, I've always carried a knife. Ever since I was a little kid, I had knives. And then got into Swiss Army knives and carried those and little Leathermans with blades on them. And then got into folding knives probably, I've told this story before on here, 15 years ago-ish or so. Started carrying a folder pretty much daily from that point on. When I say folder, when I say folder, I mean a clipped folder. Obviously a Swiss Army knife, so folding knife too. But I mean like a single dedicated clipped folder that you would clip to your pocket and carry around. I started doing that probably around 1999, 2000 or so, where I always had one of those with me in any situation where I could carry a knife. And I bought cheap knives. I mean, I've shown this particular knife many times on this channel, the old Kershaw Vapor. This was my EDC knife, and the the blade shows it for many years, and I carried and just beat the snot out of this knife many times. And I went from $15, $20 knives. There was a time when spending $30 or $40 on a knife was like, oh man. I remember when I bought my first almost $50 knife, and I thought to myself, I cannot believe I just spent it was $47. Almost spent $50 on a knife. That's crazy. What am I doing? How far we've come in some ways. But anyway, I kind of went from, aside from that one $47 purchase, kind of went from $15 to $25 knives, then to bridge the gap with that $47 knife. That was a Buck Vantage, I think it was. Then went into spending more, $100 plus on a knife, and the first one of those was a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. And until then, I just wouldn't. I mean, I was not going to spend that kind of money on a knife. And ironically, these knives, Cold Steel, which generally, this is about a $40 knife. This is about a $60 or $70 knife, depending on where you buy it. This is the Recon 1. This is the Voyager series. The Code 4 is relatively new to the lineup, but here's the Mini Recon. They're usually $50 to $60. That particular one I got a bargain on. But a lot of these are relatively medium price knives, 50 plus ish dollar knives, and I kind of went from the 20 to $15 to $20 to $25 range, with the exception of that one $47 purchase. Then the next one was $100, and then from then on I was tended to spend over $100 on a knife I wanted to get. And the Cold Steel brand just kind of got skipped. There was a time when a Cold Steel Recon 1 was kind of like, oh my gosh, that's like $70. That was like, I would never spend that on a knife, even though I kind of wanted one at one point. It was like, I'm not going to spend $70 on a knife. but I ended up kind of glossing over the Cold Steel brand just because of the price point they're at and just the way my knife journey went. So I kind of leapfrogged over this priced knife into, Spydercos and Golden built Spydercos and Taiwanese built Spydercos and whatnot, and then into some ZTEs and Hinderers and Chris Reeve. And if you watch this channel, you know where my knife tastes lie over the last several years. But anyway, Cold Steel kind of got leapfrogged, and I never really paid him much attention after that. And I got to be honest, I kind of shortchanged myself. A while ago, if you watch this channel, you've seen the knives I've had on here. You've seen the Hinderers. You've seen the Chris Reeve products. You know that I have kind of some more refined tastes as well. I'll tell you this, my knife journey over the last 6 months has been a little different. I've actually sold off a lot of that stuff. I still have a couple of Sabenzas, and I still have an XM18. I don't have a ZT in the house anymore. I only have one XM18, and I only have two Sabenzas. I don't have a Num Nums on. I got rid of that. I got rid of my the Insingo, Chris Reeve Insingo Sabenza. Got rid of my small slicer XM18. I got rid of my regular full-size slicer, the 3.5-inch slicer. I only have just one Spanto left, and a plain Jane XM18, and then the Snakewood, which you guys have seen on here before as well. Other than that, and a few choice Spydercos that are over $100, I don't have a lot of super pricey knives anymore. And the reason for that is that I kind of hit that. I'm not saying I wouldn't buy pricier knives again. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I kind of hit a point where it was like, what I can either have one knife for the next year, buy one more knife, or I can buy several less expensive knives. And I'd kind of bought up. When I got into Hinderers and Sabenzas, that was stretching my ability to afford a knife. And I've had several, don't get me wrong, and I bought and sold and played in that game of buying and selling for a while, which was able to keep me in them. But that's not really where I typically want to spend my money, as far as I don't want to have 15 Hinderers and then 20 Sabenzas and then jump into having a bunch of R.J. Martin customs and this custom and that custom. I'm not saying I wouldn't like to have those. I'm not saying I may not still get one of those on occasion when the finances allow, and when just in general when something particularly strikes me. Like, for example, if I could get my hands on a Andrew Demko 8010, I'd find a way to get one. I'd sell off some knives. I'd do something to get one. When I got my first Hinderer, I sold off a bunch of Spydercos to buy that first Hinderer. So one I just went, oh, okay, I just got the money to buy a Hinderer. No, I took my current knife collection, cleaned it out of a lot of good stuff, and bought something else. Now I'm kind of reversing that mode, and I sold off a bunch of my Hinderers and Sabenzas, and now I'm kind of buying some more mundane things, I guess, or more affordable things, so that I can just experience some more and different kinds of knives, because, hey, I'm a knife nut and I like to do that. Well, Cold Steel, getting back to them, is one of those brands that I've kind of reintroduced myself to, or because I leapfrogged over them, I went back to them and said, this is a brand I should spend some time with. And it started off with the Code 4. When I got the Code, and it wasn't my first Cold Steel, but when I got the Code 4, that kind of clued me into, like, wow, that's a nice knife. That's a cool knife. I need to give Cold Steel a little bit more attention. So I ended up buying the Recon 1, and I got a really good deal on this, like a crazy good deal on this. I think I got it from KnifeWorks. I got it for like $42 or something like that. I was like, man, that's a great deal. So I bought it just to kind of have it as in a backpack knife or something. And it wasn't my favorite. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the Recon 1's not my full size, is not my most favorite platform for Cold Steel. This guy, the mini Recon 1, this is actually my preferred Recon 1. I love this knife, and I'm going to do a review on this. I actually own all three blade styles. This is the clip point. I also have the spear point and the Tonto, and I'm going to review all of those. But my point is, I bought those, and then I got some real good deals on the Voyagers, and started just kind of buying and getting them. And then I was like, oh my gosh, these are really well built knives. They are just, and I fell in love with the Triad lock. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a great lock. It's just rock solid. I really dig it. And kind of one of my real kind of my pet peeves with knives, any knife, is blade play. If a knife has side to side blade play, or up and down too, but side to sides especially, I don't know why, that bugs me. And if a knife does have that, it better be good in a lot of other areas, and or it better be forgivable. In other words, if it's a Seki City built Spyderco coming in the door, I expect side to side blade play. I buy it knowing that. But if I buy like a Sebenza, I don't expect it to have side to side blade play. Well, what's so neat about the Triad lock and about these, the Demco era cold steel knives is that this Triad lock is an absolute brute. You just do not get side to side blade play with these guys. I've actually bought, this is only a small sampling of the cold steels that I've bought, and almost to an exception, they do not have any side to side blade play, and yet are still blade dropping smooth. So once I started discovering the rewards of a well-built cold steel with a Triad lock, I was hooked. Now, I know some people are going to be like, oh, cold steel, I don't like Lynn Thompson and whatever this and whatever that. Hey, I know. I know you watch his videos, they watch their proofs and stuff, and we all kind of giggle at it. I'll tell you what, if there's not a part of you as a knife guy that watches a cold steel proof and doesn't enjoy it just a little bit, you're probably lying to yourself. Now, maybe you just really don't like Lynn Thompson, so you see him on the screen and you just can't stand him, and so be it, and that just turns your stomach. But really, do you ever watch Braveheart? Do you like the battle scenes? Right? 300, did you like that? Come on. I mean, be honest with yourself. We all kind of like that, at least to some degree. Now, you can argue whether or not you think it's good for the knife industry or community or whatever. I'll tell you this. Lynn Thompson, he's got his shtick, and he's got his kind of his niche that he fills in the knife community and in the knife world. And I know he's an A-type personality, and that's fine. Like I said, I don't begrudge him that. Here's the thing. I think many people, and this is just my opinion, could be wrong. I think many people misread the man. When I say that, I mean I think they take him more seriously than he takes himself. I think he's out there enjoying himself, goofing, and living it up a little bit and having fun. And everybody, people that get all worked up about this stuff, I think he gets a chuckle out of it. I think he's like, really? Yeah. I don't know. I get the feeling that people take him more seriously than he takes himself. From that standpoint, I think that if you watch his videos, you watch the cold steel proofs, with that in mind, understand this is a bunch of guys just goofing off, having a good time because they can, cutting stuff with knives. I don't know. It doesn't. I'm okay with it. It really doesn't bother me. Like I said, I even enjoy them. So, and if you don't, well then okay, you don't. That's fine. That said, the cold steel brand in general, I just have really come to appreciate. Now I know there's some people out there. My good buddy Toad Sticker, Rick over at the Toad Sticker channel, has had horrendous luck with cold steels. I don't know why. It's like I can't buy a bad cold steel. He can't buy a good one. I don't know. So. Rick, I mean, we're going to get you a good one yet. I promise we're going to get you a good one. But I really have come to really like and appreciate the value, the well-built construction, the absolute indestructibility, practically, of the Triad lock. Look at that. I love this knife. This is the Tolwar, and this is an awesome knife. Oh my gosh, what amazing ergonomics this knife has. Ugh. Anyway, kind of lost my train of thought there. Anyway, cold steel. I love this brand. I've really come to really dig them. I enjoy them not in the same way I enjoy a Sebenza, but also Do I like a 4x4 jacked up pickup truck with big mutters on it, and that you can just plow through and go four-wheeling in and do, have just a good old time and beat on it and know it's going to be durable and get you through there? As much as maybe I appreciate a Ferrari. Certainly the Ferrari, that's not the Ferrari's job, but it's like a gorgeous car, so it's like but they both have their place, And Cold Steel's these are rough and tough, rumbling knives, and they're a great value. You can, if you shop around, you can get. I got this for $37. I got this for 42. I got this for $30. I think. No, I take it back. I got this for $40 maybe. I can't remember exactly now. A little bargain shop. I got this. This is the Raja 3. I got this for $42, and it's the new version with the stonewashed blade, not the bead blast blade. And man, is this knife smooth. Anyway, all of these knives I'm going to get around to doing reviews for. But my point with this video is just Cold Steel in general. If you're kind of snobby about them and you've looked them over and you've never tried them, give them a try. Don't get hung up on Lynn Thompson. Understand that he's goofing on you a little bit. He's not taking himself probably as seriously as you take him, or at least as seriously as you think he takes himself. Give the knives a try. I mean, the Cold Steel pre-Demco, pre-Triad-Lock, I'll be honest with you. The Ultra-Lock, I know I never had any interest in that. And a lot of their stuff used to be real mauled. I get that. The last several years, since the Demco era, since the Triad-Lock has come into play, man, they are building some kicking knives. You're missing out if you're not giving yourself a shot at them. Anyway, you're going to see more of these knives on the channel. I'm going to review in a lot of Cold Steel stuff because I picked up a lot of stuff over the last several months through moving and selling and selling off a bunch of my more high dollar stuff just so I could get more knives to play with and enjoy. Like I said, my tastes are kind of evolving and changing, and I'm just kind of going in different directions. Who knows, a couple years from now I might sell off a bunch of this and buy one big knife, one big expensive knife. Who knows? But right now, I'm kind of enjoying being a little bit more blue collar and really digging some good old fashioned Cold Steel. Anyway, that's 1 all 2 cents, guys. Keep the change. Sláinte.